Chapter 251 Halal Rape vs Haram Rape, Part 11. Mu'allana Sheikh Marzouk miraculously survived the beating of the angry soldier. Nonetheless, his face suffered permanent damage. It turned to a shade of black, just as the face of a person that had acid inflicted on his skin. He remained in the hospital for 2 weeks and then got discharged. From the hospital, he went directly to Al-Gadarif bus station and returned to his city. While he is traveling in the bus, his mind is engrossed in deep thoughts. He tried hard to work out a solution for the problem he is facing. What can be the cause of his calamity? First, he thought his friend might have tried to take revenge on him by giving him the wrong address. That possibility he somehow rejected as too extreme. Secondly, he thought the loafers might have played some mischief and put him into that trap. That possibility also he refused to accept as it is unprovable. Thirdly, he thought his friend might have given him the wrong address by mistake. That possibility too, he rejected as unlikely. At last he decided to confront his friend and demand an explanation, or otherwise their friendship will end there. While the religious leader is on his way to the hospital, the old man's mind is thinking of his 2 messengers. He expected the politician to return within 3 days, but 7 days passed without his return. The old man is in a dilemma. Should he wait, or send his son Mustafa too? He didn't want to inform his son Mustafa about his 4th wife, for that will put him in trouble with his other 3 wives and their children. While his mind is trying to work out a solution for his dilemma, he is surprised to see his son Sami and his friends Intisar, Salah and Mona standing before his bed. Their faces are hostile and full of wrath. The old man's face too changed from wonder, to inexpressible anger. His mind reminded him of the jail experience. He shouted his anger towards their faces. "What do you want? Get out of here, you accursed ones, before I call the police for you." "The policemen are meant for people like you and your evil friends," shouted Salah. "You are a bad boy. You have turned the heart of my son against me, and now you are bringing him with these 2 prostitutes to kill me." "Father," shouted Sami, "don't be in such a hurry to accuse such innocent girls as Intisar and Mona. These girls' fingernails are more righteous than you and your wicked friends." "Mustafa," screamed the old man, "call the 2 policemen that are sitting outside. Those 2 policemen are kept for you. To prevent you from running from jail," said Sami. "God has punished you for the evil you have done to my sister Firdaus," said Intisar crying. "Firdaus is my wife and I will never allow her to come to your house. For you are a wicked girl." When the old man said those words, his 3 wives are standing at a distance and listening to the quarrel. On hearing the name of a 4th wife, mentioned by their husband, they rushed toward him as mighty warriors and joined the battle. "What have you said, Osman?" shouted the 3 wives in unison in their husband's face. "Firdaus is your wife," repeated the 3 wives. "I have no wife except you," said the old man. "I heard you with my 2 ears," said one of his wives, saying to this girl that Firdaus is my wife. "Khadija, don't believe that bad girl. She is the one who turned my son against me and falsely accused me of marrying her sister." "Mother," said Sami, "don't believe him. He is lying to you. He contracted Intisar's sister in marriage by force." "Osman, is what this boy is saying true? I can't tolerate one more wife." "Sarah, don't believe those loafers. They are liars." "I feel ashamed of you," said Sami. "I hate to call you father. You are a professional liar. Not only a liar, but also a coward." "He is a murderer too," shouted Intisar. "He has killed my sister Firdaus." "What happened to my wife Firdaus? Have you murdered her?" "You are her murderer and you will be hanged for your crime," said Salah. "Firdaus is not dead. She is alive. She is my wife. She is living in my apartment in Khartoum. God has released her from you. She is dead and gone, but you have to face the law with your crime, said Sami. Get out of here, you liars. Before we go, we want to bring to your knowledge some other bad news concerning your secret wife Raja, and her affairs with your evil friends, Maulana Sheikh Marzouk and Mr. Mahjoub al-Halali. I have no wife by that name. Get out of here, you accursed ones. Let me read for you this news, which is published today in Al-Sahafa newspaper. A wife with 2 husbands and 2 lovers. According to the religious authority, a woman can have only 1 husband. In Al-Amirate area, a woman is arrested yesterday for having 2 husbands and 2 lovers. Both the husbands have claimed to have legally married her. The first husband produced a marriage certificate issued by Maulana Mahmud Abdul Nasir of the Sharia court, at Atbara city. The second husband's marriage is conducted by Maulana Sheikh Marzouk, the Imam of the Grand Mosque at Al-Gadarif city. The first husband is a soldier, and the second is a wealthy businessman. Through the neighbors, the first husband is informed about the second husband. When the first husband spied on his wife, he discovered she had 2 other men. One of the men is proved to be innocent, but the other is caught with her in the very act of adultery. The man is Mr. Mahjoub al-Halali, a well-known politician in Al-Gadarif city. The so-called innocent man is Maulana Sheikh Marzouk. The second husband, Mr. Osman al-Tayyib, is at present in Al-Gadarif jail involved in a kidnap and rape crime. The first husband is also in jail, under the charge of a murder attempt. His name is Abazmehi al-Din Abdul Gader. The woman's name is Rajesh Shikr Allah. According to some religious authorities, the matter is so serious, that if it is proved, it will the penalty of stoning, to be passed against the woman and the man with whom she is caught. These are false accusations. This is a wicked conspiracy. It is your planning, Sami. I will take revenge on you and your evil friends. The 4 friends rushed out of the ward and left the old man to face his angry wives. The 3 wives reproached their husband with many filthy words and left in anger. Shortly after his wives have departed, his friend Maulana Sheikh Marzouk walked in. The old man didn't recognize his friend at first. But when Maulana began to speak, he identified him through his voice. The old man cannot believe his eyes at the beginning. He shook his head to awaken himself from a nightmare or hallucination. But the voice of his friend forced him to accept that he is neither dreaming nor imagining. So, he accepted the fact that the person who is talking to him is none other than his old friend Maulana Sheikh Marzouk. Nevertheless, he thought his friend, for a reason unknown to him, might be wearing a mask. But when Maulana drew near, he knew it is his real face. The old man wondered how it is that his friend managed to move around with such a face, without being mistaken by children for Satan, or by women for a ghost, or by men for a Dracula. So, he thought it will be better for such a face to be kept in a prison, or in a mental hospital, or buried in a grave. Osman, shouted Maulana angrily. You put me in big trouble. What has happened to you, Maulana? Has someone thrown acid on your face? I have been beaten and accused as an adulterer. It is not my mistake. You must have gone to the wrong address. The address is absolutely right, but your wife wasn't there. My wife is in heaven, Maulana. There is no place called heaven in Khartoum. Then she is in hell. I demand an explanation, Osman, or our friendship will end here. Firdaus is dead, Maulana, and please do not increase my grief. Why didn't you tell me that before I left? I just got the news from those loafers. Now the problem is our friend al-Halali. I heard that he has been caught with that woman who claimed to be my wife. You mean the soldier's wife? Yes. That soldier and his wife are devils in human form. Those loafers came here and admitted that they planned that trap for you and al-Halali. Their intention is to take revenge on us for their girl Firdaus. Most probably they have bribed the soldier and his wife and set them as snares for you. That explains the problem, but we must take revenge too. Yes Mu'alana, I swear by Allah and the divorce of my 3 wives, that I will send those loafers either to hell or to jail straight away. Call my son Mustafa to me right now. Mu'alana went out and returned shortly, followed by the son. My son Mustafa, said the old man, whatever has been written about me and my 2 friends in that newspaper are mere lies. I have no wife by that name or descriptions. My 2 friends and I are victims of a conspiracy planned by Sammy and his evil friends. We must take revenge on those loafers. I want them to understand that they can't touch a lion and expect him to be quiet. This time I want to retaliate the wrong that has been done to me and my friends. I will not go to the police, but I have my means of destroying them. Before I do that, I want to separate Sammy from that wicked girl forever. For that reason I want you to call for me Hassan, the son of Mahjub al-Halali. I will call him now, father. Mustafa left the ward and went to call Hassan. Mu'alana, I want you to help Hassan to file a complaint to the Sharia court concerning his wife Intisar. Don't fear those boys anymore. I heard that the other brother died too. She doesn't have any man left to protect her. As regarding Sammy and the other boy, I will tell my men to deal with them. Mustafa knows them and he will bring them soon. I want to hear that Intisar is taken by the police to her lawful husband Hassan's house. I will do that when Hassan comes. Mu'alana, I want you to stand by my son's side and fight against those loafers. I trust Mustafa and I know he is capable of doing this job. Don't forget to take revenge for your face. Never allow Hassan to back out. Intisar is his legal wife and he must have her in his house. I swear by Allah and divorce of my 4 wives that I will stand by Mustafa and Hassan and turn the life of those loafers into hell. When the 2 criminal friends renewed their vows to take revenge on their enemies for the wrong that they had done to them, shortly Mustafa walked in, followed by Hassan and his father's secretary, the man of wonders. Welcome my dear son Hassan. I am glad to see your face. Thank you Uncle Osman. You must have read in the newspapers about what has happened to your father. Yes I did uncle, and I feel ashamed of it. Don't say like that my son. Your father is a human being. Every man in his place will have fallen in the same trap. The problem is not what he has done but what it has been done to him. It is a wicked conspiracy planned by his enemies. They have not done it to him alone. But even this blessed Mu'alana has suffered the same. Those wicked loafers have hired a prostitute and paid her a lot of money and made your father commit adultery with her. They have fixed your father with a big crime, and if you don't watch out you will fall in the same trap soon. For you are the only one among us that has not yet been wronged by those loafers. I have warned you, watch out. My son Mustafa and this blessed Imam will stand by your side. But uncle, my father's political career and reputation are spoiled forever. I know your father has committed adultery with somebody's wife. But that is just one mistake. Why the people shouldn't remember the good deeds he has done to the poor, the needy, and the oppressed? Do you call that justice? No uncle. But you know human nature. For one mistake they forget everything you did for them and remember that mistake only. They know you and call you by that mistake forever. Now my father will be called the adulterer and his opposition parties will make big issue out of it. Yes, I know your father has fallen forever. But what about his enemies? Are you going to fold your hands and wait for them to fix you too? They can't touch me. Why they can't touch you? Are you greater than your father and this Mu'alana? Or are you wiser than I and Hajj Mohammed? You are nothing compared to us. With all our political, religious, financial, and occult powers they managed to fix us. You have none of these powers and still boast. My son Hassan, humble yourself and listen to my advice. What is your advice? Take your wife Intisar from those loafers. Are you not a man? How can you allow another man to take your wife from you? If I am in your place I will kill anyone who dare to touch a finger of my wife. But it isn't a good thing to do to go first to the Sharia court and demand my wife? Yes, that is the first step. But you need to protect her when she comes to live with you. To protect her in which way? Not to allow her to run away from you or allow someone else to kidnap her from you. You mean to say, sir, says the man of wonders, he should lock her up in the house like an animal? You fool, shouts the old man in anger, have you not read the hadith which says, woman is a wara? When she goes out of her house the devil becomes her host. Yes, I did, sir. But as an Arab poet said, women are devils created for us and we seek refuge in Allah from the cunning of the devils. Nevertheless, we men cannot do without them. From the fall of Adam until the fall of Mr. Mahjoub al-Halali, men are snared by beautiful women. Some disobeyed God, some became mad, and some like you went behind bars because of women. Shut up, shouts the old man, who asked for your opinion. I have not entered the jail because of women. If men go to jail because of women you should be the first one. You worship women. Yes sir, I admit that sometimes I love them more than I love Allah, but I have not yet reached to the height of worshipping them. I declare myself from today to be the women hater. For they took away from me my son, my peace, my freedom, and my best friends. Sir, I rather die than be a woman hater. I love Eve. I love her voice, her eyes, her lips, her cheeks, and her body. Shut up. Enough is enough. What is wrong with this man? Why have you brought this man with you, Hassan? He has come to visit you in the hospital. I prefer the angel of death to visit me than this useless womanizer. Cool down Osman and forget about Mr. Fatah, says Mu'alana. Go ahead and tell us your plan. My plan must be fulfilled as soon as possible. Intisar must be brought to Hassan's house. Mustafa will bring the men who will be her guards. Is this plan clear? Yes, say Hassan and Mustafa in unison. Mu'alana, go ahead and file the complaint to the Sharia court. Let Hassan sign the lawsuit. In the complaint he must demand the issue of the obedience sentence against his rebellious wife Intisar Ibrahim Mustafa Gabir. From the time her brother Osman died, Intisar lived in great fear. She felt she had no one to protect her except her old mother. Though she loved Sami but didn't trust him to protect her. She met Sami often without her mother's knowledge. They met secretly in Badr Raya grandmother's house. Many times they tried to work out a escape from their circumstances, but they found their problem insoluble. They continued their love affairs without knowing where it will lead them. When she is alone in her house, Intisar spent her time thinking about Sami. One night she built castles in her imagination. She imagined herself being married to Sami. Her imagination took her to the honeymoon with him in far country. Their home together. She became pregnant. They had 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. She selected the names of her 2 daughters and Sami named the 2 sons. She called the first daughter Mada and the second Hanan. Muda represented her strong love for Sami and Hanan their happy marriage life. Sami named his first son Munsir and the second Khalid. The first one showed that their love will prove victorious and the second everlasting. When her imagination reached that far, Intisar took her drawing notebook and made pictures of their 4 children. She went to bed that night very late. When she got up next day, she is eager to meet Sami and show him their 4 children's pictures. Because she knew she won't meet Sami except in the evening, she decided to remain in bed. Her mother had already got up. Intisar heard the milkman knocked the door and delivered the milk to her mother. After him came the coal man, followed by the woodsman and the bread man. At last came the postman. The postman came very rare to their house. But whenever he came, the mother will wake Intisar and ask her to read the letter. So Intisar expected her mother will come and wake her. She pretended to be still sleeping when she heard her mother's footsteps approaching her. Intisar, get up and read this letter, says the mother. When Intisar didn't respond, the mother shook her leg. Intisar opened her eyes and closed them again. She turned to the other side. When the mother saw her daughter was so dearly pressing the pillow to her chest, she snatched it from her. For how long do you want to sleep? It is 9 o'clock already. Please mummy, let me sleep. I went to bed so late last night. Who told you to read your book all night? Get up and read this letter and sleep again. Okay, I will just read it and go back to sleep. Intisar took the letter from her mother's hand and looked at its address. She is surprised to see the letter is addressed to her. Her eyes are wildly opened. She sat on the bed and looked at her mother's face. The mother looked back to her. With shaking hands, Intisar opened the envelope and began to read the letter. To Mrs. Intisar Ibrahim Mustafa Gabber, Dear Madam, I am hereby to inform you that you have been invited to appear before the virtuous Mu'allana Abdul Mohsin Taha on Saturday at 10:30 am, at Al Gadarif Sharia Court. Failure to respond to this invitation will lead the virtuous Mu'allana Abdul Mohsin Taha and his jury to pass their judgment on your absence. For the Sharia Court, the Registrar of Marriages, Mr. Harun Adiyat Allah. When she read the letter's contents, Intisar's mind ceased to function for a while. Her heart stopped beating for a second. Her body is shaking violently. Her eyes opened and she blanked out. The mother is disturbed and began to scream loudly, Help, my daughter is dead! Help, my daughter is dead!